Be winning, that's my judgment. First, there was that law passed in Wisconsin, went through, curbing collective bargaining. Then workers at a Target store in New York refused to be unionized. And now, even liberal newspapers are publishing front-page stories on pension outrages at the municipal level. I'm saying the establishment media and the left are organizing their counterattack, and it'll all be about taxing the rich. That's what I say. Let's bring in Chris Chocola. He is the president of the Club for Growth, the ultimate capitalist club. Chris, welcome to the program.
Thanks. Great to be here.
What do you say? My premise is, I'm looking closely at the establishment media. I see all kinds of stories about how the rich are getting richer. They're running away with all the goodies from the last generation. We should tax them. I think there is an organized attack against success in America. I think that's what's coming down the pike. And you say?
Well, I think the world has changed. I served in Congress a couple terms, and during that period of time, all we ever talked about was how much more we would spend. Today, the debate is how much less we will spend. And so the world has changed for the better. But there's a lot of work yet to do. There's no question there's an effort for class warfare, but I think, you know, the American people are smarter than
So you agree with me that conservatives are winning? The tide is turning, the argument is turning in favor of conservatives and spending a whole lot less. But you also agree that the counterattack is coming from the left, tax the rich.
Oh, I don't think it's coming. I think it's here. I think that the class warfare has escalated because I think that the left is seeing that their story isn't working. You know, you just said that Secretary Geithner has said we will get a debt deal. I hope you read my editorial or op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today, which outlined a way to cap, balance, and cut the spending. And so, you know, the great thing about the Tea Parties is that people are trying to figure out how to become involved in good government. They're trying to understand what they can do to have more responsible government, hold their elected officials accountable. I don't think they fall for the class warfare. I think they understand that success is what has really served as a foundation for the greatest economy and the greatest country on earth. And so the elected officials in the left is trying, I think, a last grasp. They're trying to tell their story, but I don't think the American people are buying it.
You an optimist? You think that we can get back to the free market, capitalist-oriented, market-oriented America?
You know, democracies act in crisis. We're in a crisis. And so I choose to think that this is an opportunity for us to do the right thing. If we cut, cap, and balance, as they talk about in the Wall Street Journal op-ed, I think that we can get to a point where we can be responsible again. We can get off of this unsustainable path. But the next election is going to be very important. The American people have to express their voice at the polls to get the people that will do the hard things that are necessary.
I've got to get this in because the Club for Growth puts out white papers on all the candidates. You've done
presidential candidates.
Presidential candidates, and that's what you've done.
We have done that.
All right, now, okay, I don't know whether you take sides or not, but which candidate thus far has the best plan for getting us back to America the way it ought to be?
Well, we don't take sides. We try to take an objective view of the economic records of all the candidates.
So give me an opinion.
Well, we encourage people to read the white papers. They can go to clubforgrowth.org and read those. But you have to look in the context. People like Pawlenty and Romney have great spending records, have pretty good tax records in very blue states. John Huntsman, who announced today, was in a very red state, has great tax policy, not so good on spending. So governors, I think, have the most revealing records of how they would govern since they've been chief executives. Legislators have taken positions, but you don't really know how they'll lead because they've never been chief executives. So I encourage people to read them, but they all have good and bad. Every politician does, and this is no exception.
And you're a diplomat, actually, because you skirted around that. You wouldn't give me a straight answer, but hey, look, that's okay. Chris Chocola, president of the Club for Growth, I believe. Is that correct?
That's right.
President thereof?
Yes.
White papers on all the presidential candidates? Thanks for joining us, Chris. We're much obliged to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, a young teacher responds.